Surah 2 Al-Baqarah 2:13. Mankind was of one religion before their deviation. Then Allah sent the prophets as bringers of good tidings and warners, and sent down with them the scripture in truth, to judge between the people concerning that in which they differed, and none differed over it, i.e. the scripture, except those who were given it after the clear proofs came to them, out of jealous animosity among themselves. And Allah guided those who believed to the truth concerning that over which they had differed by His permission, and Allah guides whom He wills to a straight path. 2:14. Or do you think that you will enter paradise while such trial has not yet come to you, as came to those who passed on before you? They were touched by poverty and hardship, and were shaken until even their messenger and those who believed with him said, "When is the help of Allah?" Unquestionably, the help of Allah is near. 2:15. They ask you, O Muhammad, what they should spend. Say, whatever you spend of good is to be for parents, and relatives, and orphans, and the needy, and the traveller. And whatever you do of good, indeed Allah is merciful. 2:19. They ask you about wine and gambling. Say, in them is great sin, and yet some benefit for people, but their sin is greater than their benefit. And they ask you what they should spend. Say, the excess beyond needs. Thus Allah makes clear to you the verses of revelation, that you might give thought. 2:20. To this world and the hereafter. And they ask you about orphans. Say, improvement for them is best. And if you mix your affairs with theirs, they are your brothers. And Allah knows the corrupter from the amender. And if Allah had willed, He could have put you in difficulty. Indeed, Allah is exalted in might and wise. 2:21. And do not marry polytheistic women until they believe. And a believing slave woman is better than a polytheist, even though she might please you. And do not marry polytheistic men to your women until they believe. And a believing slave is better than a polytheist, even though he might please you. Both invite you to the fire, but Allah invites you to paradise and to forgiveness by His permission. And He makes clear His verses, i.e. ordinances, to the people, that perhaps they may remember. 2:22. And they ask you about menstruation. Say, it is harm, so keep away from wives during menstruation, and do not approach them until they are pure. And when they have purified themselves, then come to them from where Allah has ordained for you. Indeed, Allah loves those who are constantly repentant, and love those who purify themselves. 223. Your wives are a place of cultivation, i.e. sowing of seed, for you. So come to your place of cultivation however you wish, and put forth righteousness for yourselves, and fear Allah, and know that you will meet Him, and give good tidings to the believers. 224. And do not make your oath by Allah an excuse against being righteous and fearing Allah, and making peace among people, and Allah is hearing and knowing. 225. Allah does not impose blame upon you for what is unintentional in your oaths, but He imposes blame upon you for what your hearts have earned, and Allah is forgiving and forbearing. 226. For those who swear not to have sexual relations with their wives is a waiting time of 4 months. But if they return to normal relations, then indeed Allah is forgiving and merciful. 227. And if they decide on divorce, then indeed Allah is hearing and knowing. 228. Divorced women remain in waiting, i.e. do not remarry, for 3 periods, and it is not lawful for them to conceal what Allah has created in their wombs, if they believe in Allah and the last day. And their husbands have more right to take them back in this period if they want reconciliation, and due to them, i.e. the wives, is similar to what is expected of them, according to what is reasonable. But the men, i.e. husbands, have a degree over them in responsibility and authority, and Allah is exalted in might and wise. 229. Divorce is twice, then after that, either keep her in an acceptable manner, or release her with good treatment. And it is not lawful for you to take anything of what you have given them, unless both fear that they will not be able to keep within the limits of Allah. But if you fear that they will not keep within the limits of Allah, then there is no blame upon either of them concerning that by which she ransoms herself. These are the limits of Allah, so do not transgress them. And whoever transgresses the limits of Allah, it is those who are the wrongdoers, i.e. unjust. 230. And if he has divorced her for the 3rd time, then she is not lawful to him afterward, until after she marries a husband other than him. And if he, i.e. the latter husband, divorces her or dies, there is no blame upon them, i.e. the women, and her former husband for returning to each other if they think that they can keep within the limits of Allah. These are the limits of Allah, which He makes clear to a people who know, i.e. understand. 231. And when you divorce women, and they have nearly fulfilled their term, either retain them according to acceptable terms, or release them according to acceptable terms, and do not keep them intending harm to transgress against them. And whoever does that has certainly wronged himself. And do not take the verses of Allah in jest, and remember the favor of Allah upon you, and what has been revealed to you of the book, i.e. the Quran, and wisdom, i.e. the Prophet's Sunnah, by which he instructs you. And fear Allah, and know that Allah is knowing of all things. 232. And when you divorce women, and they have fulfilled their term. Do not prevent them from remarrying their former husbands, if they, i.e. all parties, agree among themselves on an acceptable basis. That is instructed to whoever of you believes in Allah and the Last Day. That is better for you and purer, and Allah knows, and you know not.